10 minutes dealing with the so-called parliamentary secretary in the Ministry of Economic Development and in the Prime Minister's office. But I have some other matters to deal with first. Chief among them will be a man called Michael Lashley, and another one called Adriel Raffet, and another one called Chris Sinclair, and last but by no means least, a man by the name of Dennis Law. And I reserve 10 minutes for chapter ends. Recently, the Prime Minister of this country reported in some parts of the media that the Barbados Labour Party is criticizing Chris Sinclair because of where he went to school. Chris Sinclair went to school at the Garrison Secondary and at the University of West Indies, but that has nothing at all to do with competence or being incompetent. Chris Sinclair has presided over the economic affairs of this country for the past 10 years. And during that period of time, Barbados has suffered more than 21 downgrades. Yet, from this Stuart has found it possible to praise this man, you know, that he's the best thing Barbados ever had, according to Stuart. What is even more remarkable that some time ago, Chris Sinclair said that the Barbados Labour Party has no economic plans for the recovery of this country. But I got a very strong message for Christopher Sinclair. Not only has the Barbados Labour Party have plans for this country, for the growth of this country, under the astute leadership of Mayor Amor Motley, but we also have plans for Chris Sinclair. Remember that Chris Sinclair has refused to give evidence before the Public Accounts Committee. You know that. But whenever the election bell is rung and the Barbados Labour Party is returned to power, we have big plans for Mr. Sinclair. Because at the end of any investigation, and Chris Sinclair is found wanting, there's enough plans for him. And perhaps he will be able to use the telephone number from in St. Philip. And that number is 537-5500. He should get familiar with that number, because in the event of any uncovering of any wrongdoing, there will be an institution of proceedings against the said Chris Sinclair. And let me leave Chris Sinclair now and go to Michael Lashley. I see Lashley bung in the paper yesterday. All of a sudden, Lashley bung in the paper yesterday talking about this act. All of a sudden. And he's one of the same ministers that sat down in cabinet. When this act was thought about and presented. And, you know, he said nothing. He said nothing. But Lashley needs to explain to this country a number of things. I would like Lashley to tell the country if the parts for the buses still in mangrove that they brought back from China. That they went China here and the consultant from Trinidad and they bought all kind of parts for buses that can't fit. And the parts are still in mangrove, but that's not all, you know. Perhaps Lashley should come and tell the country about the 9 engines that left Weymouth and went mangrove and nobody ain't know where they're going. 9 big engines for he know buses going. But Lashley can't tell the people where they're going. But that ain't all. I would like to know if Lashley can come to this country and explain the relationship between the Ministry of Transport, the Transport Board, and UCAL. What is the problem with Transport Board and UCAL? There are mechanics at UCAL who ain't worked for the year, who have not worked for the year. But the buses are lying in Weymouth, nothing done with them. And to top it all, the heist in MTW yard ain't working. It ain't working. So they got to pay Simpson Motors to get buses inspected. But if that is not all, perhaps Lashley could come and tell the public of Barbados what is the true price of the ZR and the ZM permits. And if there is a consortium purchasing tickets, and it has gotten so bad in this country, that the scalping ZR permits in this country is like if you're going to a football event and people buying tickets and selling them back. That is where the price of ZR permits in this country is coming to. But Lashley ain't talking nothing about that. And he can say telling lies. Because he knows my number real good. He knows my number real good. And I know that after tonight, he ain't gonna call me again. Because when them cussing he in cabinet in relation to the bills that Adrian Bradford ain't got a clue about, the next morning my phone is ring bright and early. Michael Lashley Panam complaining to me how the abusing he in cabinet and saying that he's a criminal lawyer. And Bradford bringing legislation to Parliament and ain't got a clue. So Michael, you ain't gonna call me after the night. And then we get this fella called Adrian Bradford. And you know it is sad, because the PM talking about this thing about schools. But Bradford went to Harrison College, and then he went to UAE. But he's still incompetent. And he's the worst AG this country has ever seen. He's the worst Attorney General this country has ever seen. And every time he brings piece of legislation to Parliament, it got a lot of holes in it. He ain't got a clue. And Bradford needs to understand that the job of Attorney General is an important job. And it is far removed from working overseas dealing with estate matters, you know. Because that's all that he used to do. So he ain't got a clue about legislation. But Stuart, I put it there. And there's a warning to him also. What happened in 2013 in the general election shall not repeat again. Because at 5:30 the evening, he's about there crying. Yes, and that is a fact. And 2 people from St. Philip went and helped him. 2 people from St. Philip went and helped him. And one of the persons who went and helped him shall soon be speaking on this platform to reveal a lot tone. And the talking about not buying votes and not paying for votes, but they got something coming. And now, let me get to Dennis Lowe. I got to talk about he. Because he got a fixation with this thing about LEC and morality. And again, we could talk about schools, because all I know about Lowe is that he went to Turner Hall Primary School. I don't know that much more. I don't know if he went to another school. I don't know that. But it is sad that as Minister for the Environment, there's one sanitation truck working for 13 districts in the north of this country. There used to be 11 trucks. There's only one truck servicing 13 districts in the north of this country. And not only that, they're paying endless money to push down the landfill on a weekly basis to C.O. Williams, when all it would take is just to repair one of the C9s. That's all it would take. And I wonder, I really wonder, if the contract that they had for repairing trucks with Transtech, if that is still continuing. Not only if it is still continuing, and if any is driving about the black BMW that was owned by Transtech, and Michael too, if that was done after the contracts were initiated, he needs to come and tell the country that. And now, I reserve the rest for my friend, Jephthah Ince. Because I don't know where to get him from. He's in a special class. And I don't want to see an idiot. I will never do that. Because that would be praising him. But every time, every single time, Jephthah Ince open his mouth, common sense does depart from him. Every time. And that ain't all. You know there's a big fight in the Democratic Labour Party. Y'all don't know that. Y'all do not know that. But there's a big fight in the Democratic Labour Party between Jephthah Ince and Dennis Kelman as to who is the #1 idiot. And there's a big rivalry. A big rivalry. Big rivalry. But that ain't all. And the sad thing about it, I don't know who in front. I think I'm Mr. Tully. I don't know who in front. Don't know who in front. But now let me get to Jephthah. Let me get to Jephthah, because apparently, Jephthah said that he worked on Wall Street. Apparently he said that. But I hear somebody tell me, I could hear something in the audience saying about Swan Street. No, but no, that's a disservice to Swan Street. He cannot even work in Swan Street. And a colleague of mine was saying to me yesterday that years ago, there was a conversation between himself and Sir Richard Haynes. And Haynes told him that people who want to serve in government, before they walk up the steps of Parliament, that there should be somebody on the bottom step. That there should be somebody on the bottom step with a bull pistol. With a bull pistol. And in order to walk up the steps, you had to say 3 things in relation to the development of Barbados. What you really wanted to see Barbados come to. 3 things. So you know that if you put Jephthah at the bottom, you know the man get mashed up. The man get mashed up with bull pistol and Jephthah because he can't get worse. Because he is incapable of saying 3 things in relation to the development of Barbados. And you know he's known as the physical deficit man. Even that, he doesn't understand. But Jepta works in the PM's office. And he's purported to be some investment or economic planner. But Jepta needs to come to the people of St. George North and explain to them the insidious and invidious NSRL that has been placed on the backs of the housewives, the young people of this country. That is what he needs to come and explain. And he should be shamed to come and walk and knock at people's house and talk about asking for vote. That's what he needs to explain, unless he don't show up. Because I don't know if he knows the constituency. But I guarantee you that if he's going at the British supermarket or going market, his supermarket, he will see the extravagance, what things are on. So how can he come to the good people of this country and St. George North and beg for a vote? So that we need to send a clear message to these culprits that masquerading under the guise of the Democratic Labour Party. And you know that Black Stallion got a song. And perhaps the next time I will play it for them. There's a song that Black Stallion got. A song that is most important. And we need to understand it and listen to it carefully. A song called Bundem. No, and it is symbolic, it is symbolic. It is very symbolic. So that election day is like judgment day for the Democratic Labour Party. That is really what it is. That when we're done with them, it's like if we can bun them. That's all it is. That is the symbol of it. That we will get rid of this bastards and bandits. And when the time comes, my friend, not only we can cast them away, but they got enough money. Enough money. And as I always say to you, when that time comes, eat them out, drink them out, and vote them out. Good night and God bless you.
You heard him. Are you convinced that he's going to deal with